ingrown into us that, what about all the things, money trees, I can't afford it. I mean, I came from a really humble background. My parents could not afford, we had secondhand clothes. So I had a whole lot of lack fed to me just by my day-to-day living as a child and growing up. I didn't ever feel that, but I certainly grew up with lack because I knew when I discovered The Secret, I had to turn my mindset from lack to a wealth mindset, to an abundance mindset. And so I set about to do that. And that's why I know anyone can do it, because I did it. It was all affirmations. I played affirmations, gratitude, being grateful for everything I had, affirmations to talk about that I'm wealthy already, affirming that I have plenty of money, that I attract whatever I need, and I'm a success with everything I touch, and all those kinds of affirmations. So I did those. I did gratitude, and anything that gave me a bad feeling around money, I reversed it. And one of those things was paying bills. Why? Because back then, I would open the mail.
Right.
It was like all these window-faced envelopes. And I would open the mail and oh my gosh, I didn't have any way to pay all of these bills.
It was like a dread feeling.
Oh, horrible. My stomach would just to my knees. So for everybody, I have been there. I have done it. I know how you feel if you're struggling with money. And I can tell you don't have to live your life like that. So I played games. Because law of attraction doesn't know if you're imagining something or if it's real. Doesn't know. Doesn't care. I would play these games where I would open it up, and maybe it was like $1,200 or something, and I would be like, whoa! Yeah, I'd be excited. Oh, $1,200. And I would write it down, and I'd tally up the amounts of money that I got for that day. And it got to a point where I didn't feel I was getting enough. Like it wasn't the $1,200, I would turn into $12,000. And then I would add zeros. And then I would say, yes, $150,000 is mine today, And so I would,
but it was really bills.
Yeah, they were really bills.
Oh my goodness.
And so I would play that game so I would feel better. And then I would pay what I could. But do you know when I paid, I would do something else. I played another game. I would imagine that this money is not a bill, but I'm donating to the company. I'm making a donation because this company has been really great in supplying me with electricity. And so I'm making a donation, and this money is going to help all of the people educate their children.
Wow.
It's going to help them buy food this week. It's going to pay their mortgage. So I would think about all of the employees and the difference this money would make by giving this money. And so that would cause all the resistance to go away, right? A total meltdown. And that was how I did it. So I took the circumstances where I didn't feel good about money. Now, back then, we got bank statements. They were not pretty, right? But I changed that around.
Really?
Just with a bit of marker. I would just put, and I had credit cards because I, in making The Secret, I kept borrowing on the credit cards to make the documentary. They were at the max. And I had 2 credit cards and they were at the absolute max for amounts of money that was inconceivable to me.
Right.
And that I had absolutely no way. But what I did was I just, I just pretended that when I got the statements, I would just pretend that I had, do you know what I did? I did 0, 0, 0, 0. And then I put thank you over the bill. And now I have 0, 0, 0, 0 on my credit card. Oh. But to this day, if I have a written bill or something like as somebody comes to do a service at the house and I write them a check and across that bill I would write thank you paid, because that is what I did with every bill I couldn't pay. I put thank you paid.
Wow.
And to this day, I still write thank you paid.
Wow.
You have to pay what you can. Like
Okay.
what I did was I would play that game and then I would pay what I could. And I
Yes.
think even these days, companies are a lot more understanding than they were back then, you know, and they will say, if you ring us, we'll work out a payment plan
Right.
with you and whatever. But I did pay those bills. I would pay the most urgent ones, like electricity, because I didn't
Yeah,
want
you
that to
used
be
to,
cut off,
yes.
right? And so, yeah, you do pay them. But I would just do things to feel better about money. Like I did this list of desires. I had all these credit cards they held. I overdrafted my company. I had mortgaged my home to the hilt, all like just making the documentary. And I wrote out this desire list of all of the desires that I wanted and all of the things. I looked like a mad woman. Right? Like I'm writing, you know, the car that I wanted and the house that I wanted overlooking the ocean and all of these different things. Absolutely every one of those things on that list manifested. And that's something else too that
It
I
all
think
manifested.
everyone. Easy, just write down the things you really, really, really want.
And do you need to have a reason why you want them, or is it?
Law of attraction doesn't care what your reason is. But I did a top 10 and I got everything on the list. And the last thing on the list was to go to Bora Bora in Tahiti.
And you went?
Yeah, to stay in one of those things on the water, you know, one of the huts on the water. And I'd always wanted to go there. And you got a small plane, you know, light plane to go there. And I can't remember if I was going or if I was returning. No, I was going. And the plane stopped. I thought it was an unscheduled stop. But anyway, it stopped. I think I was the only person in the plane. And it filled with Tahitians. And they were incredible. Suddenly the plane just became alive and they were laughing and talking. There were all these workers and they're laughing and talking. And I sat there and I just had tears of the beauty of them and the happiness from them. And then I realized this was the last desire on my list. And I'm in this plane with all of these people so happy, so joyful, saying, this is the way to live your life. Be happy. Because do you know, we will find a million excuses not to be happy. You know, I'll be happy when I'll be happy when I have more money. Be happy when I feel better. Be happy when I get that job. Be happy when I meet someone I'm not on my own anymore. And you have to be happy before.
Right.
Yeah,
Is the key.
is the key.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. It's just, and that is what I did. That visualization is what I did.
Yes.
I would imagine myself jumping for joy. I would just close and even I can see the movie of that, even with my eyes open, because I've done it so many times, and just jumping for joy. That down to the smallest things, like you go and have a test at the doctor's. Like, what do you want? Like, if you're going to go and have a test at the doctor's and somebody says to you, oh, how did the test? I've done this with people. Oh, how did you go with the test? I don't know yet until it comes back.
Then it could be anything.
Right. You've got to say what it is. You've got to decide what it is. Down to the smallest things in life, right? Everything we have to intend and say. We have to choose it. We've got to declare. We are an unlimited being. Don't limit ourselves and say, I don't know yet. Because when people say that to me, I'm like, what do you want it to be? Well, I don't know until I get the results. No, what do you want it to be? All clear, right? Like before I go to the dentist,
Right.
I always say before I go to the dentist, fabulous. You know, the ego's second name is lack. I am ego, lack, and fear. There it's kind of middle names, and so the ego is lack because it is completely lackful, and it's also incredibly fearful, and so that is what is sending out all of the self-talk to us. So we have to be careful of what we listen to.
Yes.
You know, because that voice that you have in your head, that is not you. And I know you think it's you because you think it sounds like you, that voice, the thoughts, but it is not you. These are just thoughts floating by. So don't empower those thoughts. Don't believe any of those thoughts, because all of those thoughts are an absolute lie. You are an unlimited being.
Yes.
You are not lacking in any way whatsoever. As you know, you felt that you were lacking, but you now know you're not lacking, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was not true.
Right.
Not true at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's just the nature of the ego. So I would just say, please don't believe any negative thoughts about yourself, because they're not true. People are so much more than they realize. It just, I get really choked up when the people are just so magnificent and so brave and courageous to do this journey of being human. You know, it's just, and all of the obstacles and the difficulties that people face, and but magnificence is what we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to do, and not subject ourselves to. That's really one. I mean, I mute too.
You do? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. And the news is just, who wants to partake of any of that? And I know I'll hear about anything that's.
You'll be informed.
I will. I'll be informed.
You don't need to be entertained with fear.
Exactly.
But you can be informed with information.
That's right. Exactly.
Without the feelings of fear and scarcity.
Yeah, because that only makes things worse, and then brings it into your life. I think in the Bible, in Job, is this simple little line: "What I feared the most came upon me." There's law of attraction.
It is, yes.
Right?
That is true.
So it's not worth being afraid. It really isn't. And fear, all of the emotions and all of the thoughts are coming from the mind. And the mind is just a program, and you can change the program. And it just takes a little bit. It just takes a little bit of putting in the good thoughts and the positive thoughts. And as you put in the good thoughts and the positive thoughts, then you begin to feel better, and you're feeling happier, and then you're on a roll.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I hope you guys have enjoyed this so far. I really love diving into this topic around manifestation and money with